The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that...
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
You've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population. This place absolutely outshines it.
Ooh, you couldn't hear me. Let's start again. It's Thursday, the 28th day of May, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airways with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. That's a little test just to make sure you all are tuning in. Yeah, you don't see me muted on screen. I just do that to make sure that you're responsive. It works. It works. But I want to give a big shout out to Karika Weldon joining us and becoming a member of the TDH crew. Big up to her. Claire Warner says, good morning, Jamel. Good morning, Bermuda. Pray that you have a blessed day and a great morning to you, and the same to you, Claire Warner. Morning to all of you, Karen Simmons and Lydia Simmons, and Kathy Sumner says, good morning, TDH and Jamel. Great morning to you all. But yeah, it works. It works, honestly. That's how I know if people are paying attention. No, I'm joking. I didn't do that on purpose. All right. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Julie Harrington on from PALS. Yes, we're going to be showing some appreciation for the nurses and the important role they play. So you don't want to miss this conversation. The Daily Play is going to be a Name That Place. Name That Place. I think you all have this. You've got this. All right. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, folks, we've got a lot to discuss today. Suzanne Ingham says, good morning, Jamel. It's a super awesome day. Oh, Sherry Eve Day. It is Friday, Junior. Sherry Eve, Friday Eve. It is. Folks, let's jump right into the discussion this morning. According to the Royal Gazette, all shores has announced planned redundancies. And whenever situations like this happen, there's usually emotion attached to it, which is completely understandable. But it's important to remember that behind every redundancy is a human being, a family, bills, responsibilities, lots of uncertainty. And for many people, layoffs and redundancies don't just impact finances. They impact confidence, mental health, and the sense of security too. First and foremost, empathy matters. But at the same time, moments like this also remind us of the difficult reality that many people don't like talking about. Here are the facts. No job is guaranteed, not one. While hard work absolutely matters, we also have to be realistic enough to understand that hard work alone does not always protect people from restructuring, outsourcing, budget cuts, automation, or changing business priorities. That's not meant to sound harsh. It's meant to be honest. It's not a Bermudian thing. Globally, companies everywhere are looking for ways to reduce cost, improve efficiency, and remain competitive. Bermuda is not isolated from those global economic shifts. I'm not saying that people should live in fear, but it does mean all of us should understand the importance of preparing ourselves professionally and financially wherever possible. We must continue to learn new things, develop new skills, adapt, and build value beyond one specific role. Career stability may come from flexibility and adaptability, not just longevity. That said, this situation also raises a much bigger national conversation, right? What role should government play in protecting Bermudian jobs? Because many people feel there's growing anxiety around outsourcing, redundancies, automation, and economic pressures impacting local workers. Some people believe government should be doing more through workforce development, retraining programs, work permit oversight, and creating stronger pathways for Bermudians in emerging industries. Others argue businesses also need flexibility to survive in an increasingly competitive global economy. Truth is, both realities can exist at the same time, but one thing is clear. Protecting Bermudian jobs cannot only mean reacting after redundancies happen. It also means preparing Bermudians for where the economy is going next, whether that's technology, AI, digital industries, entrepreneurship, skilled trades, or even economic diversification. Conversations need to be had, and action is required. The truth is, job security looks very different today than it did 20 or 30 years ago. And one of the biggest lessons in moments like this is realizing how quickly stability can change. So this morning's question, very simple, audience. What do you believe government realistically can or should do to better protect Bermudian jobs? That's your question this morning. What do you believe the government can realistically do, right? What do you believe the government can or should realistically do to better protect Bermudian jobs? What do you believe the government can or should realistically do to better protect Bermudian jobs? That's your question of the morning. We'll take a break, come back, gather your thoughts, and share your comments. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Alrighty, folks, you heard the question. You saw the news. According to the Royal Gazette, redundancies coming at all shores. And let's be clear, redundancies happen pretty often. Some make the news because of other reasons, and some never do. But it's quite common for redundancies to happen in Bermuda. But what do you think the government should be doing? And here's your poll question. Do you believe the government currently does enough to protect Bermudian workers? 1 for yes, 2 for no. But do you believe the government currently does enough to protect Bermudian workers? That's your poll question. 1 for yes, 2 for no. But again, the discussion question is, what do you believe the government can or should realistically do better to better protect Bermudian jobs? What do you believe they should do to better protect Bermudian jobs? Well, Suzanne says, I don't know what they should do, but they definitely must protect our jobs. But how? How? I mean, should they put in regulations and ensure that, if you're going to be in business in Bermuda, you have to employ this percentage of Bermudians, or you can only outsource a certain amount of jobs. Like, I don't like governments getting in the way of, free market. But at some point, they may need to step in, right, to protect workers on island. And we've seen this happen for years. Again, this is not a Bermuda problem. This is global. This is global. There are companies always looking to outsource, and it's just not for financial reasons. It could be quality. It can be, in the United States, when you call the customer service lines, a lot of times you get people in other jurisdictions. That's been happening in Bermuda for years now as well. Now, at one point, it was only entry level jobs, right? Now, it's no longer just entry level. So what are your thoughts, audience? You heard the discussion. We're discussing, basically, according to the Royal Gazette, All Shores has announced planned redundancies. Layoffs and redundancies, as I mentioned, are emotionally difficult for workers and families. The harsh reality is that no job is permanently guaranteed. I said on this show before, every last one of us should go to work every day, prepared for it to be our last. And that's not to scare anyone, but at any point, no matter how good you are at your job, if they believe they can get the same amount of production and results or even greater by automating or outsourcing, they probably will consider letting you go. And I think people need to understand that. Like, this is not about liking people or not. Sometimes it's not even about the great work you are doing. At the end of the day, a lot of private entities are in business to increase their revenue and profit. And to increase profit, one of the first things they do is streamline, cut cost. Again, people are going into work today. They've been with a company 20 years of success. And then that company says, you know what? It's been great having you. You've been a great asset. We're going to be offering you 60 weeks of severance, right? Out of nowhere. Now you've still got 10 years on the mortgage. Jobs at the level that you were doing are disappearing. Do you believe there's got something government can do to ensure that, you're not in this space? And folks, make sure you share this conversation, because this conversation needs to be heard by everyone. Everyone needs to be engaging on this one, because it can impact and affect every last person you know. No one is immune to situations like this. Some people may say, oh, well, nurses. We never know. Never know. All right, question of the morning. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. What do you believe the government can or should realistically do to better protect Bermudian jobs. What do you think? What do you think the government can or realistically can do? What do you believe the government can or should realistically do to better protect Bermudian jobs? What are your thoughts on that? And fill out the poll. Do you believe the government currently does enough to protect Bermudian workers? Let us know. All right, let's go to the audience. We've got Polly Rich says, let's start with the restructuring, revamping, maybe rejecting the current Labor Department and all its staff. So you think the government needs to restructure, revamp its own department, like the workforce development? Is that what I'm reading? We've got James Burgess says, I don't have any idea, but government has to protect local jobs from the foreigners and other situations. Okay. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says, the days of job loyalty are gone. You are a mere drain on the books. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Charles H. Jeffers II says, in my opinion, the horse has already left the barn. Before the pandemic, many companies were outsourcing for overseas, less expensive labor. Since virtual meetings are now more prevalent, we will see more. Here's the thing. I remember during the pandemic, you had people all over the internet, Twitter, and the like, saying, oh, my job should never ever ask us to come in office again, knowing that I can do this work from home. And I'm like, you just put yourself out of a job, because they're probably paying you upward of, $95,000 a year. Knowing that it can be done without coming into an office, they're probably thinking, you know what? We can go into this jurisdiction, pay someone 30 grand and get the same job done. I think the pandemic was a lot of people's worst enemy, but they wouldn't see it like that. They would not see it like that. But I take your point, Charles H. Jeffers, in a second. We've got Miss Ellen K. Horton says there should be ongoing training to Bermudians for these jobs. We are more than capable. And she says, my earlier comment was based on government jobs. They are hiring too many Bermudians. Non-Bermudians, sorry. They are hiring too many non-Bermudians. So the government itself is not helping Bermudians, is what I'm getting. This is a sad indictment on our community, though. This is unfortunate. But I guess the government is having a career fair next month. And according to, the cabinet secretary, we need people in government. I say this with love and respect. There are a lot of people who only worked in the public service, right? There are a lot of people seemingly being made redundant from the private sector who've never worked in the public service. I'm not saying that there are opportunities for people who've been made redundant, but who's to say bringing people, Bermudians in from the private sector who've been made redundant, can't improve what so many people complain about regularly, which is the public sector? Maybe that's an opportunity. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Again, the question of the morning is, what can the government, what can or should they do to protect Bermudian jobs? And the poll question is, do you believe the government currently does enough to protect Bermudian jobs? 1 for yes, 2 for no. You all are 100% no, huh? Not even the things that the Minister Jason Hayward does with the job categories protection, not even that counts? Or, well, I don't know. I'm not telling you what to think. Renee Sherlin says, get an account of company structure and staff required easily done with registrar of companies. Coordinate with immigration when a new hire. If government automates within their structure, they would know. I don't know what that means. Help me out, audience. Get an account of company structure and staff required easily done with registrar of companies. Coordinate with immigration when a new hire. So basically, you're saying if a foreigner is brought in to do a job. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of the jobs are being outsourced. In the case of what was reported about offshores, these positions outsourced according to the Royal Gazette, right? So jobs are disappearing from Bermuda. It's not like we have non-Bermudians coming in to replace Bermudians. There's a difference in this. We're specifically talking about jobs disappearing. What can be done to protect Bermudian jobs that are being outsourced? Do we need to relook at agreements with companies that exist in Bermuda about a certain percentage of jobs need to be in Bermuda? I know many years ago, people complained about companies being set up in Bermuda but having no employees. I think that's the focus right now, is how do we protect Bermudian jobs from being outsourced and from being automated? That's the question. That's the conversation here. Can the government do anything? Should the government do anything? And the poll is the government currently doing enough? We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says, at best, government to ensure the job market is a fair one, or as fair as possible, need to prepare people for increased automation. Yeah, how are we doing that? How are we doing that? You know, there are certain jobs that will not be automated. Maybe I can't even say that, because there are nurses that are automated. I knew someone who was a nurse that worked on, what's it called? Teledoc or something like that. Maybe a dentist or a hygienist can't be automated. Doctors can be. Not for emergency situations. Obviously, customer service jobs, maybe underwriting jobs. What was that in Old Shores? The pension department? I just want to ask your audience, yes or no? Do you believe that your job can be automated? Just a yes or no. Do you think that your current job can be automated? Yes or no? I want to see if anyone's courageous enough to answer that question. Yes or no? Do you believe that your current position can be automated? I've always felt whatever job I was doing, because I did a lot of sales and broadcasting jobs, I always felt they could be done from anywhere. Dr. Anthony Richardson says yes, and he's a lawyer. This job can be automated. Manuela says, with the government reducing jobs over recent years, how can we expect them to protect Bermudian jobs? Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, maybe there should be a mandatory percentage of employees in Bermuda for those companies domiciled in Bermuda, but that may take away our competitive edge or advantage. I think we are too late to this party. I agree, Charles. We have to figure out what will keep us competitive in this space. Like, what can we do without alienating or annoying? Yeah. Let's go. We've got EZ2NV101 over on Instagram says, education must be Bermuda's #1 priority if we want to protect jobs and strengthen our future workforce. I think education is the backbone to everything we do. I really do. I think education is the backbone to everything we do. Now I asked, do you think your job can be automated? No, I'm not even saying automated or outsourced, but do you think your job can be automated? Stacey Ann Brown said yes. Angeline Butler says not yet, but they are going to try dental hygienists. Interesting. Folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. We've got Limestone Living says putting less stake on degree requirements when the job is trainable. I love this idea. What do you believe the government can or should realistically do to better protect Bermudian jobs? Put less stake on degree requirements when the job is trainable. I absolutely agree. You know, the business of college, we'll talk about it in a subsequent episode, but You see MBA programs are now offering 50% off. The business of college is changing. People going in debt just to do a job that pretty much may disappear quite soon. Going in debt for jobs that don't pay them enough to pay off that college debt over 20 years. The business of college is changing. I take that point. All right, audience, it looks like the poll, we've got 88% say they don't believe the government currently does enough to protect Bermudian workers. Well, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Let's show them some love. We'll do a days of the year. And then after the days of the year, we will take a break and then come back with our very special guest for today. But folks, serious conversations need to be had. Serious conversations need to be had. I'll tell you now, and I'll say it later again. If you woke up and you're on your way to work today, please understand that your job is not guaranteed. And while I understand the stress of bills and life happening, every last person who goes to work should be prepared for it to be their last day. I repeat, if you woke up to go to work today, you should be prepared for it to be your last day. Jobs are not guaranteed. Harsh reality. Let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks. Days of the year, folks. We're going to do something different today. It's National Burger Day. So I'm going to ask you not what condiments you like to put on your burger, but what are some condiments you definitely will never put on your burger? In the interest of Burger Day, it's National Burger Day. What are some condiments that you would not put on your burger? I'm going to go first. Mayonnaise. Ugh. No mayonnaise. I'm going to go second. Bacon. Do not give me, well, I'm talking about Beyond Burgers or turkey burgers. I don't eat beef burgers, but no bacon, no mayonnaise. What else, audience, what does not go on your burger? What does not go on your burger? Let us know. Mustard and relish, they have to go on my burger. Come on, Angeline. Gotta have some mustard and relish. What else doesn't go on your burger, audience? What if you got your burger and they made a mistake and put one thing on there? What would it be that you would say, throw it in the trash or take it back? We've got and pick Angeline Butler. You all are hating on mustard, Zena Woolridge, and Stacey and Brown hating on pickles. None of you said mayonnaise. None of you said bacon, but you're picking on the pickles. Definitely not tomatoes or pickles. You all are talking about all the stuff I eat on my burgers. I bet you all love mayonnaise and you love bacon. Ugh. I'll tell you, those are the only two things I can think of that I wouldn't put on my burger that people regularly put on burgers. Another one, Nicole Walker said raw onions. Another thing I like on my burgers. Thank you, Suzanne. She said no mayonnaise, no ketchup. You see, I was with you, Suzanne, when you said no mayonnaise, but then you said no ketchup. And I'm with you on the mustard and relish. So what don't you put on your burger, folks? What else don't you put on your burger? If you went to your favorite restaurant, you ordered a burger and they put what on it, you're saying, nope, that's not for me. What else? What else? We're going to take a quick break. We've got a very special guest coming up, Julie. We're going to speak about the important role, the critical role that nurses play and show them some appreciation today. We've got Karen Simmons says, no raw onion, mustard, or lettuce. Wow. We are opposites, audience. We're not aligned, audience. Charles says, mayo is the first thing I put on, and we know about my love for bacon. Yeah. Dorian says, if the meat tastes good, you don't need condiments. Okay. If the meat tastes good. So if it's seasoned good, you don't need condiments. Okay, fair enough. I agree. I was at a wedding on Sunday and I had a turkey burger and it was seasoned so well, it definitely didn't need condiments. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, Jamel, Mama can't agree with everything you say and do. I hate mayo and ketchup. Fair enough. Fair enough. No mustard or pickles. I have learned a lot about the audience. So, audience, put it this way. When we have our next TDH event, I will make sure if there are burger sliders that they have mayonnaise and bacon on them for you. I just won't be eating with you. We're going to take our first break. We'll be back in a few with our very special guests. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workforce for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carrier Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
You wanna come get some? Playing around, playing around. I got the juice, I got it, no doubt.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, folks. Real quickly, just want to share the Bermuda Police Service did send over something, and basically very sad news. Shortly after 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 27th, 2026, police received reports of gunshots at Cedar Park Prospect. Officers and emergency medical services were immediately dispatched to that location. Initial investigations confirmed a firearm had been discharged outside a nearby residence, and one person shot the victim. A male was transported to King Edward Memorial Hospital via ambulance for treatment of their injuries. The extent of those injuries, are not known at this time. All right. Anyone with information, the police are asking you to please contact Detective Inspector Nidal Barker on 717-2176 or email nbarker@bps.bm. You may also call 211, the main police number, 295-0011, or the independent and confidential Crime Stoppers number, 800-8477. So, audience, you have any information regarding this event, please reach out. Please need your help to kind of help solve this. All right. Well, folks, without further ado, we've got a very special guest for the day. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to our friend from PALS, Julie Harrington. Oops, not that one. Not that one. There we go. Julie, greetings. Welcome.
Good morning, Jamal.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, Julie, but I've got to ask you because, I just learned that I have absolutely nothing in common with most people in the audience when it comes to what I eat on my burger. So I need to figure out, Julie, if you're going to bring it back home and tell me, what don't you want on your burger? What would you avoid putting on your burger?
Don't know, Jamal. Ketchup.
You don't eat ketchup on your burger?
No.
Really?
No.
Interesting. So,
not at all.
You know what? I guess that's like me not eating cheese on my pizza.
Okay.
Yeah. my 3-year-old niece doesn't, like, she pulls the cheese off. She doesn't eat cheese on her pizza either. So I'm going to say people who don't eat ketchup on their burgers, that's like me not eating cheese on my pizza. But Julie, thank you for doing this. Thank you for stopping by. It's not your first time. But for me, this is a very important conversation because there's a shortage of nurses in the world. Every year they're looking for nurses. And, during Nurse Appreciation Month, I think it's important to recognize the role nurses play, not just in the community and the global community, but within PALS itself, and obviously the wider healthcare community. Speak to us on that.
Well, I'm kind of going to divide your question a wee bit and just sort of like refresh your audience's memories about the fact that we recognize nurses in the month of May, and specifically Nurses Day, on May 12th. And this is because modern day nursing was sort of birthed then by Florence Nightingale. She was born in Florence, Italy, although she was of British parents. And the 12th is her birthday, and that's why Nurses Day and the modern take on nursing started then. And then for me at PALS, modern day palliative care was started by Dr. Cecily Saunders, who was a nurse to begin with in her career, went on to become a physician, and her theories and practice were put in place for palliative care and hospice care in 1967. So all of that hinges on how we practice today. The importance of recognizing nurses, I think it's because we, I guess some people will sort of raise their hand and say, what? But I think we are the backbone of medicine. And I think it's so important to recognize what nurses do, the contributions that they make. And I just wonder sometimes, like, I think we get lost in the shuffle. And so it's important to sort of like circle back and say, hey, take a look at us for a minute. I'm always trying to promote how proud I am of my nurses. I try and do it regularly. I'd like to say I do it every day. I try and check in when I come to work. I have a separate office, but I stick my head in their office at the end of the day and make sure they're okay. I think this is really important. Your next question to me was about PALS nurses, which is where my heart is, and supporting patients and their families and what makes our role unique. And at PALS, we are different from the nurses, like I'm just talking about here on the island. We are different than the general mix of nurses. We're very specific about the care that we deliver and the type of medicine that we deal with. I think that high levels of integrity, compassion, and advocacy are paramount in what we do. We deliver holistic care to our patients. We just don't take care of your cancer. We take care of your mind, your body, your soul, everything. You are a whole person. You're not just a disease entity. We must have advanced nursing knowledge and a strong foundation in medicine to be able to construct our care on evidence-based medicine. And we are the only group of nurses that provide care to cancer patients within the community in your home primarily. So those two questions I kind of muddled up together.
Yeah, no worries. And audience, I want to ask the audience, do you have a nurse in your life? Yes or no? Do you have a nurse in your life? Julie, nursing requires not just clinical skill, but compassion, emotional strength. What qualities stand out most in the nurses you work alongside within PALS?
Yeah. I don't know how to impress on people how tough it is for my nurses. Teamwork is paramount. We're small. We live together in this little house on Point Finger Road for 8 hours a day. Compassion is huge in our practice. If you don't have compassion, you're going to sink here. Understanding how to care for people who have life-changing and life-ending illnesses. Sometimes your cancer, because we just deal with cancer. Let me make this very clear. It's a bit of a misnomer, that we deliver palliative care, because palliative care embraces all types of life-changing and life-ending illnesses. Okay, but we only deal with cancer. That was our endowment 45 years ago, how it was started. That's how it's remained. And some people, even with their cancer, it's life-changing for them, but they get their treatments, whatever, and they do well and they survive. And, I think you always have to be mindful. You always live with your cancer, even though it's not detectable. But then for some people, it is life-ending. No matter how hard we try, we can't fix it. So being able to deal with that, to be able to problem solve and work within the framework that's available to us here in Bermuda, there are very few resources for us to reach out to in Bermuda. And, we have to really look and search and try and dig to help people, because as I said, this is a holistic care process that we do. We, we're looking out for your whole person. So using resources that are available is paramount for us. Advocating for our patients is huge in PALS. We are there to support you, to advocate for you, to speak with you, for you. We go with you to doctor's visits if that's what you would like. We chase things up, and I think that this is really, really important, especially, and it's no secret, during the current climate here in Bermuda with regards to oncology services for our patients on the island.
How do PALS nurses and audience, if you have any questions or comments, and I know a lot of people in the audience have had to deal with PALS in the past, so if you have any questions or comments or even compliments, that you can send them through. But how do PALS nurses help families navigate the emotional side of serious illness beyond just the medical care? Because that to me is the toughest part of the job.
We work together. As I said, teamwork is paramount here. We're, all of us have a little, I always say we always have our little trick of the trade. Somebody may be good in something like, for example, wound care. My trick is that I can get blood out of a stone. So working together is huge, because we often meet and we network and share things when we have challenging or difficult situations, so that we can come out with the best result for the patient and their family and their caregivers. Understanding your own strengths and weaknesses regarding and surrounding death. You cannot go in and help and support people in this crisis time, this vulnerable time of their life, if you don't know what's going on inside yourself. So there's a lot of soul searching, a lot of developing your own self to be able to then step out and be of help to someone else. This takes a lot of practice. I've done this for a long, long time. I've been a nurse for 55 years. I still have challenging moments with patients and their families when I'm discussing end-of-life issues. It does take practice. It takes honesty. It takes you to be straightforward, learning how to ask open-ended questions so that it invites the patient and their family into the conversation. And lastly, I have to say, this is all about nurses, but within my practice here at PALS, we have 2 dedicated physicians and an absolutely superb medical social worker. And without them as a part of the team, and all of us working together and respecting each other's talents, it wouldn't work. And we are blessed to have this type of team to be able to help people in Bermuda.
Not just nurses, but healthcare professionals overall often give so much of themselves to others. But and as it relates to nurses, why is it so important that they themselves also feel supported and appreciated?
Well, I wrote this down, and I ran a couple of these things past my social worker, because she's such a sensible young woman. So I said, I don't want to sound glib, so it might come across as that. But if you're working for someone and they never acknowledge you when you're doing a good job, or thank you for sticking things out when things are really terrible, and there's a lot of terrible stuff that we see on a daily basis here. It's emotionally taxing, this job. It's very difficult. Or show you gratitude when you go the extra mile. In here to, if one nurse is really, really heavy with clients, a nurse that has lesser number of clients steps up and says, let me take some of yours for you. This is all very important. So if all that doesn't go on, what do you think that the work performance of that particular nurse will be like? And that's why, I think it's important that nurses are recognized. Yes, we dedicate a day out of 365 days to recognize nurses for the contribution that they make. But as I said, I try as hard as I can, and it's difficult to always remember this, but it's an important thing that I try and make myself do, is to nurture them at all times. I think I've got a lot of things that I can help them learn and better themselves, and I need them to understand how important they are in caring for palliative care patients in the community. When I started this job 4 years ago, I had been one of them. And then I retired and I went away, and then I came back into this job. And I was absolutely disheartened because I met a group of nurses, some of whom I had already worked with and some were new to me, who were floundering. They'd lost their self-worth. They'd lost their confidence in what they did. And I made it my mission to bring that back to them, because I think that that is so, so important. And if I do that, then they flourish and they grow. And then the person that we're caring for can only benefit from it at all times.
Indeed, indeed. I did ask the audience, anyone have any nurses close to them? Stacey M. Brown said yes. Excuse me, several. And Manuela said yes. But James Burgess, I think he was going back to something you said earlier, just confirming that PALS is the organization on the island, or is there others who do what you do?
For palliative care, no, there isn't. And this again is a concern where I sit and look. If you have cancer, you've got us. That's the bottom line. But as I said, palliative care is a global or an umbrella that covers many life-changing or life-ending conditions. So for example, you can have end-stage heart disease, renal disease, pulmonary disease. You can have dementia, and I will step quietly into the government sector. I think government doesn't think that dementia is a disease. Dementia is a disease. Dementia, will kill you. And if I put it out to the public, I bet if people Googled what is the #1 killer of people in the Western Hemisphere, everybody's going to put their hand up and say heart disease. And you're quite right. I recently became certified in palliative care medicine, and I did it at a European level. And guess what the #1 death is, leading cause of death in the UK? It's not heart disease, it's dementia. So dementia, frailty, all the MNDs, all ALS, Parkinson's, Lewy bodies, all of those illnesses need support. And there is nothing here in Bermuda for that. Dementia Bermuda is doing their best. They're starting, but we've been 45 years in the making for PALS, taking care of cancer patients. So Dementia Bermuda, I support them wholeheartedly, and I try and share things with them on a regular basis, like little things that I think about that might help them, and I know that our physicians are trying to help them as well. But for all those other illnesses, there's nothing. There's a chasm there. So this is a problem on the island.
Yeah, very sad. Those tuned in right now, what message would you like to share about the value nurses bring to Bermuda every single day?
Every single day, 24 hours a day. When you think of nurses in the institutional hospital settings, there's always a nurse. Your nurse is there with you much more than your doctor ever is, right? They look out for all aspects of your illness, and here at PALS, we look about for your whole life, for your journey with cancer. And again, your topic for today, your question for today was about outsourcing and things like that. And I think as you saw, people got a little bit muddled. You were definitely talking about outsourcing. In other words, pulling me out of the chair and having some tele-nurse answer questions versus Bermudians being sidestepped for guest workers. I just want to tell you, you brought this up, that there's a shortage of nurses worldwide. There are over 6 million nurses short worldwide.
Wow.
6 million. There are not enough Bermudians to be Bermudian nurses. So whether you like it or not, that's the truth, and that's the fact. The fact that we have to invite and employ people from other jurisdictions is a lifeline. And I think that if nurses choose, if you're one of those 6 million around the entire world, you've got the entire world where you can go, and you choose to come to this little speck in the Atlantic, then I think, we should be grateful that these people come and help us take care of our friends and our families. Because without it, that hospital is empty. We're empty. Doctors' offices are empty. Public health is empty. And that's why I say nurses are the backbone of medicine. We hold it up. We're the underskirting for medicine.
Indeed. Indeed. I had a conversation at Botanical Gardens with 2 nurses last year, and they came from both Dubai and South Africa, respectively. And they spoke about the challenges Bermuda speaks about every day, about finding housing and so on. And
Absolutely.
we cannot afford to literally get people there and then them want to leave because they can't find proper housing.
The vision, I think, when they tore down the nurses' home, I can understand it was old and probably full of asbestos and stuff. I don't know. But to tear it down and just leave the grass there was a huge mistake, because nurses will come and land here, and then what? And trust me, you don't go into nurses because you get paid a lot of money. Okay, you don't. Yeah. And we know how expensive we are.
Yeah. We got a question from Charles H. Jeffs II. He says, what percentage of PALS patients actually transition? Do you all celebrate those who go into remission? Conversely, do you all pause to recognize those who transition?
I'm sorry, I can't give you a number. I would say we have I keep them in my head, if you can believe that. I have about 176 patients active right now, and about 30 that are what we call supportive care. So I have over 200 patients that play around in my head all day long, and I try and know about all of them. How many patients actually die? I can't give you a percentage. Of course, we recognize when people die. We support families. Some of our remit is to try, and if patients and their families want to die at home, is to be able to provide that. And I think we do it very, very well. There is a place for hospice. Don't get me wrong. There is a place for hospice, but hospice has changed, and I don't sugarcoat it. Hospice has changed in the years that I have worked with PALS. It's not the same hospice setting that I'm used to. And if patients want to die at home, we will facilitate that. There are very few conditions where we really can't. Very, very, very few. Like I would say 99% of the time we can facilitate patients dying at home, and I think we do an excellent job. And of course, we support everybody through that entire process. We celebrate patients when they leave us because they go into a remission, and funnily enough, they don't want to leave us. Sometimes I have to be a bit hard with people because I have 5+1 nurses. That's it. And, so if the time comes where, you've done your treatment and you've gone through your 3 months where they do like a follow-up CT, MR, whatever, and you're good, there's no evidence of disease, we'll offer you supportive care, which means that my social worker will take you on. She has a volunteer that will call you every 3 months and check in and see how things are going. Or I can make you completely inactive and say, look, on your way, if that's what you want. But we're always here. And even if somebody dies, we're always here for the family. They can come back at any time if they're struggling and need help. If they need perhaps some support in counseling and stuff, My social worker does counseling at a certain level, and we sometimes start there. And if it's more complicated than that, we have Dr. Karen Dyer, who's our psychologist as well.
Before you head out, Julie, and audience, talking to Julie Harrington from PALS Nurses Appreciation Month and the critical role that they play. But seeing as there's a shortage of nurses, what would you say to people tuned in today? Maybe they have young people not sure what they want to do in life, but they have a knack for helping others. If you were to give some words to encourage people to consider nursing, what would they be?
As I said, there's no glory here. You work very long, hard hours. You work shifts. You don't make a lot of money. Maybe in some areas you do, like if you go over to somewhere like Dubai where, they have money to burn. But, generally you don't make a lot of money. I'm an old nurse. And in the year 2000, the Worldwide Nursing Council felt that it was necessary for you not just to become a registered nurse, that you had to have a 4-year baccalaureate. I personally don't agree with that. Just like one of your people this morning sort of said, like, stop paying such attention to degrees in places where people can learn something, like do an internship, and it's the same for us. That's how I feel. If you want to get your degree, absolutely go ahead and do it. If you want to be sitting up, in an office or whatever. I don't have a degree. I'm a nurse, a registered nurse. I sat in NCLEX just like the girls next to me that would have had to do a 4-year baccalaureate. We all sit the same exam. If I wanted to be an advanced nurse practitioner, I would have to go back and get my degrees. Fair enough. That's what you want to do. But I think general nursing, you can just do that. The college does provide up to that point, but they let nurses work here in Bermuda with just their nursing degree. But if you want to go away from Bermuda and work at any time, and you don't know when you're 21 or 22 years old whether life will take you off island, then I say get that degree. I don't think it's right, but you have to do it the way things are in this day and age. If you go away and you study nursing, stay away for a period of time if you possibly can. I worked and lived in Montreal for 17 or 18 years. I think it's really important to live in what I call the real world and work in the biggest, heaviest place that you can possibly work and really learn and absorb what to do so that when you come home, you've got that strong foundation. I really believe in that. It's a rewarding job. You can do anything. Like you're not just tied to a hospital. You could be a flight nurse. You can work for Médecins Sans Frontières if you want to. There's a bazillion things that you can do in nursing. So, I would encourage you to do it, but there's more guts than glory. So you have to want to do it. You've got to be motivated, and motivation comes from within. So if you're not willing to learn and keep learning, and then, you're just going to go for the paycheck, and that doesn't work for me. So.
Indeed. I think you shared some selling points there. And I think most of all, you'll always have a career, I don't say job, but a career, an opportunity.
A career, yeah. It's telenursing. They use that in Canada a lot. Kind of when you call 911 and the dispatch person says, ambulance, fire, or medical, and you say medical, then they'll start to ask, well, it's 211, like in Canada. And, a nurse will answer, and she's got she has to follow something. She can't be like me and jump all over the place. She has to follow an algorithm. You've got chest pain, she goes to chest pain, and you follow that algorithm. And then she tells you either how you can treat it at home, or no, you call 911 because I think something terrible is going on. So there is that branch of nursing, and I think it's been tossed around here. I'm not really sure.
Indeed, Julie, thank you so much for the discussion this morning. Really helpful, folks. Get out there, celebrate, show some love to a nurse today. Until next time, have a wonderful day, Julie.
Thank you, Jamel. Appreciate you.
You too. Julie Harrington from PALS. Folks, if you appreciated that discussion and you are streaming with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, we've got a daily play, and I'll wrap it up. Stick with us.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Julie Harrington and everyone at PALS for another important community conversation. Folks, thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, if you haven't already and you are streaming with us, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. New Bermuda Trivia products, Shoe by the Original and the Summer Edition, coming out very soon. You want to stay tuned by making sure you follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? It's a Name That Place today. It's Name That Place, and here we go. This is probably the easiest one you'll have this week. Audience, what is the capital of Cuba? All right, Suzanne Ingham said Havana. Dr. Anthony Richardson said Havana. Yeah, it's Havana. You all are brilliant, just brilliant. All righty, folks, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts. Look, regarding this morning's discussion, I wasn't trying to scare anyone. I just want to be realistic. I want us to have honest conversations. It's important for us to understand that, as I say in my book, all of us are replaceable. No matter how good we believe we are, we're replaceable. And so, yes, we should always be prepared. Always be prepared to lose that job that we love, that we're good at, that we work hard at. Always be prepared for the next move. That's not saying that you will lose a job. It's just saying that if you do, you're prepared should that day ever come. As far as the discussion with Julie, I think anyone who's had to deal with a nurse understands and appreciates the value that they bring. Knowing and understanding that the global shortage is 6 million and how the world is moving. I'm not a believer in people doing anything just to have a job, especially when the job involves taking care of people. You want people who actually genuinely care and want to be there to help. But something needs to shift in the world where people become a lot more caring and empathetic to the point that they want to become nurses so that we can address that shortage. And when we do, conversations like this morning about automation and outsourcing won't be as great. All right, give you some dailies. Well, Charles is saying, has the key been found? Yes. Go back and watch yesterday's show. The key was found. I did say that the key was found, and I didn't say where it was found, but it was found at this Sally Bassett statue, but it was found on the same day. All right, here's your daily inspiration. Oh, this is perfect for today and a job. The truth is, everything has an expiration date. The sooner we all realize this, the happier and healthier we'll likely be, personally and professionally. It's okay to let go and move on. Yeah, it's true. That's a harsh reality. But everything does, in fact, have an expiration date. Audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.